But not least to my friend Annisa Triyanti, who is representative of the major group Children and Youth. And this is the second time I meet you. First time was in Sendai. She was advocating for youth issues at the Disaster Risk Reduction Conference in Sendai. And today you are coming to speak to us about the World Youth Skills Day on behalf of the major group Children and Youth. Annisa.
Thank you very much for Mr. Ahmad Alhendawi as a UN Secretary General Envoy on Youth, distinguished panelists, ladies and gentlemen, and of course I want to greet all my fellow youth in this room. Today we celebrate the World Youth Skills Day 2016. We are reminded about how important of investing in youth skills development. Youth are often framed as inexperienced and not prioritized in policies aimed at decent work. Education, formal and informal, for all genders, is a fundamental human right and a way to address skills and associated work. It is a primary investment in the march to achieve the 2030 agenda. At this opportunity, I would like to share my experience of working in the sector and highlight the importance of educational system to support skills development of youth. I was born in Indonesia and experienced the education system up till my university studies. During my bachelor's education, I learned that every student had to pass a module in community service program. Without this, a student was not allowed to graduate. This program requires every student to spend up to 2 months with a local community. We are asked to work with local people, tackling the current and most challenging issues in the community, ranging from livelihood improvement through tourism and disaster response to conservation of natural resources. I was lucky to partake in disaster response for the community services module. To put it in context, Mount Merapi in Central Java erupted in 2010 and killed more than 347 people and displaced 13,312 people. All basic infrastructure had collapsed, leaving people without access to basic needs and decent work. As young students, we were expected and worked towards restoring the everyday lives of people affected. Some students took initiatives to teach in the temporary schools built from thin bamboo walls, while others helped to build temporary shelters and clean up streets. As geography students, we engage with the community, especially children and youth, using informal and formal formats on how to reduce and mitigate hazards and risks in order to protect themselves. Just as an example, building a volcanic risk map for raising their awareness of the risk. However, the learning process is not one-way stream from student to the community, but works both ways. The interaction resulted in communities imparting new skills to student volunteers. These were mostly linked to the use of local materials and to add value to them, including traditional food and local products like batik, the clothes that I'm wearing right now, famous Java handmade fabric. These help in sustainable use of local material, preservation of culture and livelihoods. Having had to supervise the same program 3 years after, when I started working as a young lecturer, I have seen my students gain social skills from working with the community. This program has been considered as an effective way to raise awareness among youth in the formal education system in regards to being an active member of civil society and creating responsibility towards the environment. More efforts are needed in order to balance the provision of formal and informal skills in the education system, which provides young students with many different types of skill set that enhance the quality of their lives and the community, preserve in the environment and create livelihood. We also need to address the commitment towards meaningful life learning opportunities that all young people should have access to, especially ones belonging to marginalized groups, to use a catchphrase, skill development must leaving no one behind. These learning opportunities could include new and appropriate technologies, ICTs, indigenous knowledge, life skills and local skills gaps, both through formal and informal avenues, including peer learning. Furthermore, in order to ensure the most fit for purpose delivery, multi-stakeholder cooperation and partnership with all economic and social partners, including educational entities, civil society organizations, youth groups, and employers are needed. These could focus on joint development of roadmaps and thematic content, along with access to financing. In addition to this very personal experience, as youth, student, and junior lecturer, which I hope to be useful as a good practice, I'm also speaking here in the capacity of a representative of the UN Major Group for Children and Youth, the formal engagement mechanism for young people in intergovernmental and allied process at the UN. Through the process of the Sustainable Development Agenda, the constituency of young people and youth organizations engaged have taken a formal position in this topic through the UN Major Group for Children and Youth. The wide variety of inputs have ranged from everyone should be entrepreneur and it's their fault of not being employed, to the current discourse on the employment and skills is a garb to channel young people in the service imperial private capital. Keeping this diversity in mind and extensive procedures, the following has been our formal position and endorsement. First, we very much advocated for and appreciate Target 8.6 on youth employment and the means of implementation, Target 8B on operationalizing a youth employment strategy. Second, while welcoming these, we want to raise concern over the fact that the formal measurement of youth unemployment only counts young people between the ages of 15 to 24. Many young people have not even finished their education by then. This leaves behind a sizable population of young people. The third one, our formal position also includes a pushback against the rhetoric that overemphasizes entrepreneurship as a blanket strategy to address youth unemployment. Fourth, we also strongly disapprove the policy suggestion that assert that a primary strategy for education and skills building should be based on private sector's demands and bridging this gap for job creation. We hope and urge for the analysis and discourse around this to be rooted in identifying community needs and associated skill building that creates livelihood. Skills are for life and creating a desirable society. We need skills that build livelihood while empowering people, create the quality, and conserving the planet. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Annisa, for your remarks. I think the recommendations you shared with us will serve well as inputs as well to the interactive panel that we'll be having right now. But we'll pause for a moment to change the set of the podium. I would like to thank His Excellency the President of the General Assembly and the ambassadors and the representative of the United Nations and the private sector for joining us this morning. I hope you will be with us for a very interactive panel that will start right away after playing this short video. So let's watch the short video, and I thank you once again, Your Excellency. Thank you.